He's got a voice like solid gold and a twinkle in his eye. And keeping that eye firmly placed on our parliamentarian buddies is Tony Amos. We welcome Tony and the weekly political roundup.
Tony Amos, another week and another beat goes on.
Oh, it almost rhymes, Jared. Good to see you and good to see you.
Oh, Tony, I thought we might have a chance of winning a league test, but...
One day, Jared.
One day.
One day we'll beat the Aussies at rugby league. One day it will happen.
But, Tony, you haven't forgotten we're still world champions.
We are indeed. We are the champions of the world.
Won't be too
This
much
part
longer.
of the world. Let's hang on to that. Let's hang on to that for as long as we can.
Won't be too much longer, but we do have a sporting person on as our special guest tonight, Yvonne Willering.
We do
Silver
indeed.
Ferns.
And isn't she a remarkable woman, a part of the fabric of our sporting culture?
Now, from sport and comment, what about a buzz? We always have a buzz, don't we, Tony?
We always have a buzz. There's always a bit of a buzz, Jared. And this week the buzz is, it's been established it would be very unwise to turn your back on a politician. That's the buzz.
Well, that sets us up nicely, doesn't it, Tony? For politics.
Yes, Jared, our look at the geeks and the freaks, the sooks and the crooks, the oddballs and misfits, those rooters and looters of public office we proudly call our politicians.
Oh, they're always giving us entertainment, aren't they, Tony?
That's what they're there for, I think. Jared.
Entertainment.
I think that's why they exist, for some primitive and basic but silly, funny entertainment. And of course, this week, Jared, 3 big questions.
Ooh.
First question is, where is the beast of Epsom, John Memory Banks, hiding?
Yes.
That's question number 1. Second question is, why are we even having a conversation about Mike Tyson getting a visa to come to New Zealand? And the third question, is the Prime Minister John Key preparing to leave politics? My spies say that he has a plan. Those questions will be answered sometime in the future, Jared.
Not tonight.
Not tonight. We have the questions tonight. The answers will come at another time. And Jared, talking about Prime Minister, Shonky Jonky, the man with no plan, he who sits astride our low-wage economy, well, there's big news about our low-wage economy. It's now a lower wage economy. I mean, we shouldn't laugh, really, should we? Here we all were hoping that our low wage economy would be lifted a bit by the people administering our governance, but no, what's happened? Well, there's a new youth wage being introduced. So now we have a new, what they call entry-level wage of just $10.80 an hour. Now, crikey, Dick, how on earth can someone live on that sort of wage? Well, of course you can't. It's not a livable wage. But we're being sold this by the politicians who tell us that, we need to bring the wages down to allow employers to employ people. What a lot of piffle. This is the same community that has companies like Telecom and Fonterra paying their CEOs and other managers millions of dollars a year and then giving them golden handshakes worth millions of dollars as well, just to individuals. And the same people are telling us we can't afford to pay young people a livable wage. That's just pathetic, mate. It's not even funny, It's tragic, it's sad, it's stupid, it's selfish, it's greedy, and it's plain wrong.
Tony, and that's really strange because just last week, the stock exchange is at its highest level since the Depression started, or the recession started 4 or 5 years ago.
Bit of a Freudian slip there, Jared. Depression, recession, compression.
Take your pills.
Take another one. Take 2. I'll take 2.5. Well, it's a bit of a litmus test, isn't it, the stock exchange? And our deficit is dropping, and credit where credit's due, the deficit is dropping, and that is good news for our economy. But what we need to focus on is our strengths. What do we have as a nation to offer? What can we give young people? What can we give investors and those things? We are a good nation. We are a nation of hard workers. We are a nation of people who, given the opportunity, are good at productivity. Now, productivity is an issue here. We're not so good at the moment, but you can't blame the workers as such. Don't blame the coalface for productivity. Blame those, if you want to blame, look at those people who are administering.
Got to blame the coach.
You've got to, well, exactly. That's what happens in sports, mate. When a team wins, the team wins, isn't it? When there's a win on the field or the court, the team has won. When there's a loss on the field, the coach has lost.
Yeah.
And in reality, business and our community and our governance is a bit like that too. But we really need to really capitalise on what we have. We have a good, strong, healthy population and a pretty good, strong, healthy environment as well. well. We have a lot to offer the world, but we don't really capitalise on it the right way. And perhaps we need some new blood, some new ideas, some fresh people coming in and telling us what to do.
John Tamahiri could be the new coach.
John Tamahiri could be the new coach. That could be question number 4 this week, Gerard. Will the Labor Party allow John Tamahiri back into their fold? Well, some might, but of course a lot of women don't like him. A lot of women don't like Tamahiri anyway because of his history, of his past, of his comments about women in the past. And good luck to Tamahiri, but I don't know that his chances are that strong.
He has positives. John Tamahiri. He's a likeable person.
He has a certain charm, doesn't he?
He is.
And he clearly has an intellect to go with it as well. But talking of the Labor Party, I see David Shearer, the Labor Party leader. Remember him, David Shearer? You may have heard of him, Gerard. Yes. Yeah, I mean, Shearer, the Aussies reckon that's a great name for a Kiwi politician anyway, with a bunch of sheep shaggers to have Shearer as a leader. But anyway, he's talking about having a reshuffle of his shadow cabinet. Unfortunate expression. Shadow cabinet's a flash name for spokespersons, of course, and he's talking about reshuffling his shadow cabinet. Well, that's like rearranging the chairs on the Titanic, some would say, but I don't think the Labor Party should be worried too much about reshuffling its front line. It needs to reshuffle its ideas. It needs to come to us with a vision and a plan and some excitement and some drive to take New Zealand on a new course, on a path of prosperity and good times. That's really what political parties need to do. And right now, mate, none of them are.
But there's always the list MPs to help us out, Tony. There's always the list MPs.
Oh, the dreaded list MPs. Yes,
they'll do it for us.
I mean, Gerard, as we said earlier, members of Parliament are there to entertain us, and list MPs, they are the real court jesters, aren't they? And this story is about a list MP who passed away. It's always sad when someone passes away. Anyway, this fellow, he'd gone, and he arrived at the pearly gates, and he was met there by St. Peter, knocked on the door, and St. Peter came out. He said, "What do you want?" He said, "I'm a list MP." He said, "I've just passed away, and I want to come in." And St. Peter said, "Well, I'm sorry." He said, "We don't normally accept your type here." And the list MP said, "Look," he said, "I'm a good fellow. I've given a big portion of my life to the community as a list MP, very important person." And he said, "I've been generous to the community too, you know." And he said, "What do you mean?" He said, "Well," he said, "I've been very generous. Just last week," he said, "I gave $50 to a homeless person. And the next day, I gave $25 to an aged concern organisation." And St. Peter said, "Right." He said, "The day after that," he said, "I gave $25 to a food bank. That's $100 of my hard-earned money." And St. Peter said, "Look," he said, "I'll go and check inside in the office." And St. Peter went away for a few minutes. After about 5 minutes, he came back. He said, "Look, I've had a word with the boss, and he agrees with me. Here's your $100 back. Now bugger off." That's politics.